In the last video, we covered the basics of drug harm reduction, and if you missed it, click the link in the description. Now, let's talk about sex. First, what are some risks associated with sex? What are some ways that you can reduce those risks? When I was a kid, the mantra in sex ed was just say no. But what you should really do is just say yes. Let me explain. Specifically, you should just say yes to your own sexual preferences and level of comfort. Whether you're gay, straight, bi, pan, asexual, or just not sure, the best thing you can do for your sexual health is to be honest with yourself and with your partners. And don't forget, sometimes saying yes could mean saying no if you're just not comfortable with the situation or if you just don't feel like it today. Being true to yourself is the best thing you can do. One of the most well-known risks of sex is getting STDs or STIs. There are a lot of them, and it can be really confusing to know what the specifics are and what ways they can affect your health. But at the core, if you can know how they are transmitted and how to prevent them, it's going to make your sexual life way better and way healthier. So, who gets STDs? The truth is, it can happen to anyone. Some of you might be surprised to learn that when HIV was first discovered, it was believed to be a cancer that only affected gay men. Today, that might seem a little ridiculous, but some people can still carry some of these less informed beliefs about STDs. We now know that anyone who is exposed to the thing that causes the STD can get infected. It's also important to note that just because you don't see an STD doesn't mean it's not there. Unless you know your partner's status, there's no way to know whether or not they might be carrying something that you don't want to catch. And more importantly, unless you get tested, you won't know whether you're carrying something that could infect someone else. We know that anyone can get infected under the right conditions, particularly having unprotected sex with an infected person. However, this transmission can be prevented by using protection and with a little bit of knowledge. One of the most common forms of protection is using a condom on the penis for vaginal, oral, or anal sex. Another way to use protection is by using a dimple dam, saran wrap, or a condom cut in half so it's a big sheet for oral sex on a vagina or anus. Oral sex can be made more fun by putting something sweet like honey on the protection so that you're not just licking a piece of rubber or plastic. When using protection, water-based lubrication is essential to make sure that everything flows smoothly. Be careful though, because using anything oil-based can cause condoms to start to break down. For more specifics and to make sure that your condom and lube are compatible, do an internet search and make sure that you know whether or not the particular condom you're using is okay with the particular lube you're using. In general, water-based lubes are safe for all condoms. Another really important part of sexual activity is proper hygiene. One of the best things I ever learned was to go pee after sex because it helped prevent UTIs. Although UTIs are more common in female-bodied people, they can definitely happen to people with penises as well. They're certainly less common because the penis has a longer urethra, but it's not impossible. So, after you finish having sex, just go pee real quick. Even if it's not a whole lot, it's usually enough to push out any bacteria that might have gotten caught in the urethral tube. And believe me, if you do get a UTI, go see a doctor because getting a UTI up to your kidneys is an incredibly painful experience. And it's incredibly dangerous. Let's talk about one of the biggest issues in sexual health: respect. Respect starts when you respect yourself. Knowing what your limits and boundaries are can help you say no to keep yourself more comfortable and having a good time. It's also really important to respect the limits of your partner so that they can have a good time too. If you're with a long-term partner, or even just a fling, communication ahead of time will make the whole experience a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable. It's also really important to make sure that your partner consents to sex before you start doing anything sexual. You should also be checking in with your partner as you continue to have sex to make sure that they're still having a good time. Most people find that when their partner is enjoying the sexual activity they're doing, it makes them have a better time too. Consent is honestly the biggest part of sexual health. There's a great analogy for consent involving tea. that basically says, would you want a cup of tea? Someone can always say no, and you shouldn't just force them to drink if they don't want tea. For more specifics, check the video linked in the description. Remember, consent can only be given when sober and fully aware of what you're doing. It cannot be given if under the influence, asleep, underage, or in any other situation where the person giving consent doesn't understand what's going on. It's up to you to not try to get it under those conditions. And if your partner says no, respect that. And don't try to pressure them into doing something if they don't want to do it. And remember, consent can be revoked at any time. Even if someone previously said yes, they can always say no if they're not cool with whatever has started to happen, or if they just change their mind. You should respect them for this decision. This covers the basics of sexual harm reduction. Click the link in the description to continue on to a discussion about hearing protection. And click the other link if you want to go back and watch our video about drug harm reduction. And don't forget to caress that subscribe button and tickle the bell.